Morning. We got our big crop-saving rain this past weekend.
Yep, it was a massive 2/10 of an inch of rainfall. A real drought buster. Don't get me wrong, we would never turn any kind of moisture away at this point. Every 1/10 of an inch or drop of rainfall is better than nothing, but it was about the equivalent of putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's not really gonna do much in terms of fixing the problem.
70 degrees at 8 o'clock and the corn is already starting to roll up a little bit. That's not the best sign for the status of your crop, but it's really out of our control. Let's get to work. Oh boy, 4-foot tall corn starting to tassel. That is less than ideal.
Before we get too far in the action today, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, AG1. Because of the slim chance that I am providing everything my body needs throughout the day, I drink AG1 first thing every morning because it has a science-based formulation of micronutrients, phytonutrients, and symbiotic ingredients to help promote whole body health. The three main things we are trying to support day in and day out are brain, gut, and immune health, and AG1 has the blend just for that. For our growing crops out in the field, we go above and beyond to make sure they have more than enough of every nutrient that they need to produce a bumper crop. I don't know why individuals like you and I are not doing the same to make sure our body is producing a bumper crop. Whether that bumper crop is extra productivity throughout the day, better sleep, there's a lot of different benefits that come from properly supplementing and supporting your body's natural systems. AG1 helps fill all of those gaps to make sure that we are all optimized and operating at our best. And I do want to highlight that it tastes really good. You're not going to find this powerful combination of science-based ingredients in a supplement with taste to back it up. A lot of times you got to plug your nose and put it down. AG1 tastes great, it's easy, it's effortless. I really would recommend that if you're on the fence, you go over to drinkag1.com/aTrippyFarmer to get started on your order today. Individuals from my community who follow that link will get a 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 thrown in with their order for free, and you get 5 free travel packs. 1 serving of AG1 every morning is one of the simplest things you can do to help support your body every single day. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Everyone go check them out. Now back to the regularly scheduled programming. There is some silver lining. At least the grain markets are up today. Oh wait, no, never mind, they're down. They're down pretty hard actually.
Got to keep the wheels turning on the farm regardless how our current crop is progressing. Time to go and be at our last corn bin. The bin's starting to quit a little bit. We gotta be careful on this one because if we open the side stumps up and the middle one's open and everything falls in at once, it'll plug the out on it. So we kind of have to be patient on it. On this one you can close the center and then just open the sides, which is probably the best for not plugging everything. Although, I don't really know how much is enough. It'll be close whether or not it finishes my load without firing up power sweep. I'll close those side stumps again, open the center one up so we don't plug things, and when it's needed, fire up power sweep. All I gotta do is throw a lever, which is pretty convenient. Alrighty, time to shut her down, close the slides, fire up the power sweep.
There should be 4, maybe 5 loads sitting in the bottom of this bin. I think we're just gonna run the trucks in tandem. I'm just gonna pull out of the way, wait for Jeff, help him load, then we'll both go to the elevator at the same time, come back. That way we've always got an extra person at the site. Someone can always be pushing the sweep, sweeping out, while the other person goes and loads their truck. I'm gonna hop in this bin, get started on loading another truck. I will say that I chose a terrible weekend to get a splinter in my hand because that's exactly what I use for operating a scoop shovel. Oh well, I'll always find something to complain about. They're busy down here in Neoga today. Last bit of 2023, time to clean up. Cleaned off the conveyor, gonna put it away for summer storage. Won't need it again until next winter. And we may not even need it much then if we don't have much of a crop. Whoa! After a little bit of grunting and maneuvering, the conveyor is inside now. Because these are so long, regardless of how low you put them down, they still sit too high on the end to clear the rafters or the supports of the shed. So we had to pick it up fairly high, almost probably chest height, to get the end far enough to get it in the door. In other news, I probably need to go to a chiropractor because that was a lot of lifting. This one's so much heavier than our old one. Jeff got ahead of me while I was helping Dad and Chris put the conveyor away. So this load right here is the last load of 2023 grain. This is the 20th bin, I did the math, that we've swept out this year. I know 20 sounds like an impressive number of bins, but keep in mind, some of those are rather small bins. There's a handful that are 3,000 or 4,000 bushels. I'm sure some of you big shots out there may have one bin that holds more than all 20 of ours. We're out of here. Just got both trailers dollied down. The other truck's going in for a service. My truck's headed back to hook up to the tanker again. Jeff was helping me back up to the tanker, and he pointed out that maybe we ought to go ahead and have these tires replaced before we do any more hauling of any kind. They don't look that bad standing alone until you look at the brand new set in front of them and realize just how poorly these are in terms of condition. Don't want to have 5,000 gallons on that tanker and one of those blow. Most likely not going to be an issue, but we'll probably just go ahead and get them changed while we got a little bit of a break in hauling action. Supposedly they are claiming that today is going to be the haziest day of the season so far for us. All of that excessive smoke from those Canadian wildfires have been making their way down here through Illinois and really through the Corn Belt in general for the last couple of months, but I guess today's the pinnacle. It's probably hard to quantify, but I'm almost certain that all of the reduction in photosynthesis because of the reduced sunlight from this haze we've been getting this summer probably has a negative impact on yield, although probably pales in comparison to the lack of moisture. Speaking of lack of moisture and yield loss, some of this corn's starting to shoot tassels out here on the first field we planted, so if we don't get rain here another 2 weeks, this train wreck is going completely off the rails. Oh, since we're done hauling grain, there's really no more excuses, no hiding from it. I gotta start mowing some roadsides. The haze is actually coming into the shed. Interesting. I took this tire off about 2 weeks ago, ran into the tire shop. They patched a few holes and said the valve stem was leaking a little bit, and it appears that it's still an issue. Visually, it doesn't look that bad right now, but the gauge only has 20 pounds in it.
At least it's a very slow leak. If we put air in it at the beginning of the day, it's not really an issue. If it sits for a few days in the shed though, you're gonna have a pretty low tire. I've worn in my finger access holes in these gloves. They don't come standard, just something that happens with time. Topping off the fuel tank for good measure. This 7800 is another one of our machines that has an improperly functioning fuel gauge. I believe it had plenty, but never hurts just to put some more in. If I made it seem like I do all the mowing, that's far from the truth. Jeff does 85% of the mowing along the roadsides of our fields. He's done a lot of it already. I've just got a few farms over east that I'm gonna do personally. And then we'll do some filter strip mowing, CRP stuff here in late August when we get the green light to mow that from the FSA office. Have to have their approval to mow stuff like that. Even though it makes things look nice, I'm just not a huge fan of mowing roadsides. Especially when you start blowing tires and breaking things and running over field culvert entrances. There's a lot that can go wrong when you're doing it. Dad called me this morning and asked me to move the Hagee just in case they try and hook up the field cultivators and wash them today, which I don't know why they would do that without my help, but sometimes he gets an idea in his head and the ball starts rolling and there's really nothing you can do to kind of deter him from that. And I'm afraid if he got in the Hagee, it'd be totaled by the time he got out. Just kidding. I think he could figure out how to drive it eventually. I'll move it somewhere out of the way. Enough of that. Let's go do some mowing. Someone's been cutting a little wheat. It's windrow, so I imagine they're gonna come in and bale it for straw. I would say that we're getting the last place trophy for showing up to mow the roadsides in this neck of the woods. Everyone else has everything cleaned up already. Not entirely sure what happened to that corn right there. Almost looks like a rusty bladed leaf chopper bug got him. Hate when that happens. All done mowing. That haze has gotten so thick it almost looks like rain coming across. Everyone? I guess there was some rain out there. I haven't seen this in a few weeks. Barely enough precipitation to even get a rain gauge wet, but I probably ought to get this grass off the back in case it picks up some moisture. If you leave it for a couple of weeks and it gets away from you, it can actually start to decompose, get a little biological activity going on, and then sometimes it catches on fire. Never seen it happen, but we normally don't get wet grass on our mowers, usually dry. You know what? I've got a much better idea. You know what? Maybe next time, put the camera upwind, not downwind. Chew this up a little bit so it doesn't drown out the grass. You'll put a little bit back on top, but that's not a big deal. Normally I'd pull the mower straight in, but it'd be in the way if I did that. For some reason, today of all days, my dad is in some kind of insane hurry to get everything cleaned off, as if we don't have a good couple weeks with nothing on the agenda. Just the way he operates. So I'm gonna pull these seed tenders out one by one, wash them out, run the fuel out of the engine, and put them away. Haven't even thought about these seed tenders for the last 6 weeks. Finished our last field, put them in the shed, and haven't touched them since.
I believe the green seed tender is ready for off-season storage. Ran the fuel out of the engine, shut the fuel off, let it just run till it was out, and then washed it off a little bit. Obviously the washing job could always be better, but better than nothing. I have no idea what the deal is with the tarp on this seed tender, but it does not function correctly. Okay, I'm gonna knock this one out real quick and then get it backed in. Unfortunately for this seed tender, that washing session did not go as planned. When I went to pull start the power washer, I managed to rip out the starter cable, and I don't have any extras on hand to retie it into the starter, so we rinsed it off a little bit. We're just gonna put it in as is. Starting to rain again. I will give you a quick crop update. The beans don't look that bad. I feel like they have not grown as quickly as we would have liked them to at this point. Corn is showing much more stress during the day, although I think this haze from the wildfires is kind of slowing down growth today, which in an indirect way makes them lose less moisture, so the rain's not a big of a deal. And not to mention, over the next 7 days, there's a fairly healthy chance every day of some pretty significant storms. Let's hope there's no damage, but we would take some rainfall, and chances are pretty significant at this point that we are going to get some rain. We need it because it's do or die for our crops right now as we go into July. Very little subsoil moisture left. The tank, so to speak, is empty. If we do not get some fuel or rain soon, this is going to turn into a disaster pretty quickly. Right now, it's still not too late to recover this with some moisture. Regardless, you guys know I'll keep you posted on what develops out here on the farm. As always, I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!